Tens of thousands of carers across the country have been blindsided by letters from Revenue telling them they may face tax bills going back years. Mark Wally's Labour Social Protection spokesperson says it's causing serious financial and emotional stress to families who are already carrying an enormous burden. Deputy Ward says carers allowance is means tested, and for many people that created a genuine and understandable belief that they didn't owe tax, and he's calling for an urgent amnesty.
They were obviously stressed. They're getting on to their local representative. What the Labour Party want to do, we want to see a clear guidance from government that Revenue are not going to collect any back monies due. And if this requires legislation, then that's what we want to see. But what we need is clarity that there is no call on these carers who are doing such great work to pay back any monies that may be due over the last number of years.
Well, that is Mark Wall there, and for his part, Minister for Social Protection Derek Leary has said that information shared from his department to Revenue relating to the carers allowance will be forward-looking, and that less than 10% of the 104,000 people who receive carers allowance or benefit will have any tax liability. For more on this, I've been speaking with Deborah Kett from Queensrÿche, whose daughter has cystic fibrosis, to get her reaction. Deborah, good morning to you.
Good morning, Alan. How are you today?
Very well. Thousands of carers around the country, not so much though. Many people receiving letters from Revenue in recent weeks. What was your reaction when you first heard about this issue?
Well, look, first of all, initially, it's great to see that data is being shared across the government departments at last, because at least then, if there are issues, certain things can be fixed in real time or a lot quicker than 3 to 6 months that it would have taken, government departments to rectify errors, underpayments, etc. in the past. So that's a plus from the sharing of the data perspective. But what it's done by informing Revenue that there was a possible underpayment for people, for carers, that's a really bad outcome of this. And it's very upsetting for a lot of people. It's very worrying for a lot of people. Again, it's going to tie in with a bad time of the year. The cost of living is getting higher and higher. I was listening to stats there yesterday from St. Vincent de Paul, and their numbers are up on the highest last year that they've ever had. So to get this letter in the post for a lot of people is going to push a lot of families over the edge, I think, being honest with you, Alan.
Yeah, and I guess even where people may not ultimately owe anything, the letters themselves have caused a lot of anxiety. I mean, how stressful is that uncertainty for families already under pressure, given, as you said, we're in January?
It's awful. I know that my tax affairs are in order. So, say when I was caring full-time for Hannah, I was very lucky that my husband was self-employed, so we had an accountant. He did bring me in. He did make me aware that it was a taxable form of income. He did make sure that it was included in my husband's return. But not everybody has that access. Not everybody is aware. Plus the fact that carers are unbelievably stressed out, unbelievably so busy, with services being cut back, with services being withdrawn, with funding being withdrawn for certain government departments. So they're already, put to the pin of their collar with time. Thinking about their finances is the last thing they want to be doing. And as you said there a few seconds ago, strong possibility a vast majority of carers will not owe anything. But as I said, I have my tax affairs in order. But if I get a letter from the Revenue, even if it's just to say my LPT is paid up to date or I have it scheduled, I still get that panic feeling in my chest. So I can only, it's terrifying, being honest with you. It's just even a letter, but it's terrifying for the vast majority of people.
We've mentioned many times on the show how carers save the state billions a year. Politicians saying it could be around 20 billion a year. How does it feel to hear carers described as a burden rather than a support when issues like this arise?
Let's just say if you could hear me grinding my teeth, that would be something. But I think it's highly insulting, very offensive. How can anybody, to be in a position to care for a loved one, it's a great opportunity. It's a gift. I really, by caring for Hannah, I learned so many skills that I was able to help with my mother, who lives with us, and I would care for, and with my late father-in-law. So the gift of that alone, you can't put a price on that. But to be called a burden when we're not going to hospital until we absolutely have to because we're managing situations at home, to be called a burden because I was a physio, I acted as a doctor, I acted as a nurse, I acted as a psychologist, I acted as a dietitian. That's 5 roles that I fit into my day every day. I acted as a tutor, to help her with homework and stuff like that. How can that be a burden to the state? how can I be an inconvenience to the state? How can any carer be an inconvenience or a burden to the state when they have so many hats to wear at any one moment in time, let alone be a parent if there's other children, let alone be a spouse or a partner if there was a husband or a wife in the family, let alone try and mind themselves. So it's highly offensive and deeply disturbing that anybody would think that carers will be a burden to the state.
Revenue and Minister Cleary have since said that most carers won't face a tax bill, that it will be forward-looking, so there'll be no review of previous years. But has that reassurance gone far enough in your view, or has a certain level of damage already been done?
The damage has been done already, Alan, to be honest with you. I honestly think that with the introduction of PMOD with the revenue X amount of years ago, with the way that revenue have marketed themselves as being, access your my account, raise your concerns, everything is done in real time. We have designated people to answer your queries. Why can't those designated people assess there and then? Why wasn't there a better marketing campaign, a better explanation campaign on the radio, on public media to say, this is our policy, this is how we're going to move forward, and then assess, then write out to carers that actually do owe something. Like, the pharmacies have the legislation been advertised on the radio and on media saying that pharmacies can now write prescriptions for run-of-the-mill illnesses or something like that you don't have to go to the GP. That's bilingual. That's in English and in Irish on all radio stations. And I'm sure it's in printed media and on national television as well.
You believe there should have been a similar campaign?
Absolutely. Totally. Why couldn't there have been something like that instead of causing distress to people that are already stressed and distressed? Like Hannah, as I said to you before, like we're very lucky she came off the transplant list, she came off her oxygen, she came off her tube, her peg feeding because she went on new medication that changed her life. Unfortunately, we're starting to see a change in those things. And even up to yesterday evening, she's gotten very sick and she's bleeding from her lungs. And I know she's very sick. So imagine if I had gotten that letter as, like, I'm not a full-time carer anymore because Hannah became well, so she didn't need my full-time care. But we're getting to that point again where I'll have to look at the situation. Imagine going home to see blood everywhere and your daughter struggling to breathe and monitoring her oxygen stack, and then getting a letter in the post telling me, oh yeah, by the way, you may be liable for tax. We don't know yet. We didn't really check it, but moving forward, this is your situation. And I wouldn't have been the only parent or carer in that situation. So I believe a better marketing campaign, of course, should have been handled far better than what it was. As I said from the outset, the sharing of data is helpful. It does mean that certain things can be remedied in real time where there is an underpayment or there's change in personal circumstances. So that's a benefit. But absolutely, it was totally mishandled by the government and by their marketing, their PR departments.
There are calls for a full amnesty to remove any fear of backdated payments, despite what Revenue and the government have said. Do you believe that's necessary to restore trust with carers?
I think so. Something, yes, like that would be. But I think communication with carers has to be better. It has to be more streamlined. And moving forward, that's the way it has to be. And if the government is not prepared to do that, then, they shouldn't be writing to carers in the first place. If they're either going to do it right or not do it at all. But I think offering an amnesty and recalling those letters would go a long way to reinstating trust between carers and the government, the Revenue, and then the Department of Social Protection as well, because again, the data came from there in the first place. And I know for a fact, having experienced it myself, that data is not always 100% accurate.
Just to finish, Deborah, and more broadly, I guess, what do you feel this episode says about how carers are communicated with, but also particularly supported by the state?
I was actually thinking about this there yesterday, and I just think it goes to the attitude of government, of services, that we'll rely on you, we'll, take everything you're giving for free, but if you ask for anything, don't count on getting it. And very much so, you're now a group of people we can tap to boost the revenue of the country because, we're all struggling. The coffers are struggling, even though we had a windfall, even though we have this, even though corporation tax receipts exceeded, in last quarter last year did exceptionally well, we're still going to tap this group because, hey, do you know what? You can't fight back because you're so tired of, from caring. So we're going to tap this group and make them suffer. So if I was a full-time carer, that's how I'd be feeling. And for people that are in that care situation right now, I am feeling like that for them, and it's awful.
Okay, we do have to leave it there, but Deborah Kett, thank you for joining us to give us your view on that.
Thanks a million, Alan.
That was Deborah Kett, who I was chatting with earlier. 086 1800 964. If you are a carer, we speak to many carers, family carers around Clare. We know there's lots of you out there and around the country, some 500,000 indeed. We'd love to get your thoughts on how you feel about this whole story. 086 1800 964.
Morning Focus with Alan Morrissey, giving you all sides of the story. First, Clare FM.
I'm joined in studio by DJ O'Sullivan, the guitarist, lead singer with 13 Doors, who's also launching an exciting new hard rock project. He's formed this group of musicians he met while working alongside Geoff Tate, the former frontman of the legendary rock group Queensrÿche, with a debut EP just finished and a US tour about to kick off, and also new music on the way, both with his new project and 13 Doors. DJ is a busy man, but I'm sure he wouldn't want it any other way. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Alan. How are you?
Very
busy.
Well. You don't know, I'd say you don't know whether you're coming or going.
Oh, sure, I'm telling you, living out of a suitcase, but it's a bit of crack.
But before we'll get to 13 Doors a little later on, and talk to us a bit about this new side project. Is it an acronym or is it OGMA?
OGMA, the Celtic god, brother of the dog. He's a big beard, and we just thought the three of us are big, long-haired, beardy men, so we thought let's go for the Celtic kind of theme.
How does this connection with Geoff Tate from Queensrÿche come about? Was it through other people? Did you meet him through gigging, or were you in the States previously?
It's always one of those kind of, it all happens through the right people at the right time. So it was actually through Pat from 13 Doors, knew James, who plays guitar with Geoff. So I got chatting to James online, and he needed a guitar take one night for a gig up in Mandela Hall in Belfast, and I said, well, I'm free, and we kind of knew each other through other people, and it was like, okay, sure, come up for the crack. And then just from there, doing a bit of work here and there with him, started singing. I started being annoying and started asking questions and bumping my head in, and then it was kind of like, oh, you sing and play guitar too? Welcome.
So you weren't shy about kind of approaching, like, I don't know, presumably you were a Queensrÿche fan before, prior to this, or like Operation Mindcrime is their big album, was huge for them, or were you hesitant at all about trying to talk beyond small talk with such a rock legend?
No, I'm half Belfast, so it just doesn't that fear doesn't exist. It's just head first.
Probably the best approach to take when all said and done.
Lovely fella, like there's no ego, no nothing with him. So he loves chatting about music, loves Pink Floyd and all the older 70s stuff, so very easy to chat to.
But of course, all of you are based in different countries, so how did that work? How did OGMA develop from there?
So we just became friends. Myself, James and Jimmy became friends just gigging with Geoff and doing things across Europe, and this project only started about 6 weeks ago, from like inception to where it is now.
6 weeks ago, and you're touring the US. You're leaving at the start of next week.
So it was Susan, Geoff's wife and manager, saw me and James just singing. We were just playing acoustic guitars, and I think it was an Alice in Chains cover we were doing, and she was like, oh, I have an idea. We're like, okay, what's your idea? She's like, you're forming a band and you're going to tour with us in the States in January. I'm like, okay. She's like, can you do it? I said, yes. And so we went straight into writing, recording. Jimmy's in Australia, so he did all his bass parts wirelessly while we were going to sleep.
So a lot of sound files flying back and forth over the internet.
Stuff going over the
So how many songs have OGMA got that you'll be gigging with?
So we have a 4-track EP that's being mixed at the minute, and we have a couple of covers as well that will, Thin Lizzy stuff and whatever else we decide next week on Monday.
And like a month-long tour of the US, how is it, like, in terms of preparation, and for you, have you ever toured the US? Like, it sounds like you're going to be going all around the country. That'll be, that's the dream, isn't it?
Yeah,
when you're growing up and you want to be a rock star. The US is the place to go.
That's it. Yeah, the Golden Eagle bus or whatever, and across. But no, I haven't done the States. We've done a fair bit in Europe, so we're used to what you need to pack and all of that kind of stuff. So we've got think we have everything sorted. I have to pack the suitcase and, and other than that, put the guitars in and away we go. We'll see what happens.
It's going to be quite the adventure. You must be really looking forward to it.
Yeah. Oh no, really, really looking forward. It's all down south as well, so we're going to get decent weather.
Oh, lovely. No better time to be going than
I'm telling you.
compared to here.
Driving in here this morning, I was thinking, this would be nice.
So you leave the start of next week. When's the first gig, and how is it just going to be like intensive rehearsal so you're ready for it?
Yeah, it's kind of one of those complicated things where we've all been learning it ourselves as we go, and we all know what we're doing. But the first gig is on the 28th in Jacksonville in Florida, so we'll do as much as we can at soundcheck, and at least it's not a huge set, we're going to have 6 songs, maybe 7 songs, so yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Amazing to think you're sitting here on a Thursday, and by next whatever Tuesday, Wednesday you'll be in Jacksonville in Florida.
I still have to learn some of the words.
And you still have to learn some of the words, and you're going to be doing it with Geoff Tate, which would be good crack as well.
Amazing,
Look, by the time you come off the road, you'll be sure have lots of stories and memories, and I presume it won't be the end of OGMA. Maybe this will go further, and you, of course, your main gig, of course, 13 Doors, more to come from them as well.
Yeah, we've been writing it at the same time actually. Myself and Pat have been doing a bit of writing with 13 Doors, so it's been before Christmas I thought it was going to be nice and relaxing because there was no gigs, and then this and the 13 Doors writing stuff came up, so it's been good, and I feel you get more creative when you're doing more stuff, when there's more music flying around, different ideas happen, so we're doing well. We don't have a full album yet, but we're getting there. We've got a good few songs for us. So
okay, very good. So things going well there. And with OGMA, I mean, look, if the tour goes well, you'd be hopeful. Maybe you'd be writing a few of the bits on the road. Something further could emerge from that. And there'll be lots of people coming to see you because of the Geoff Tate connection. And who knows, some other big US rockers might be catching you and like the cut of your jib, and you could find yourself being the in-demand Shannon musician stateside.
Hopefully, you never know. Very good.
I suspect, DJ, you're going to have to split yourself into 3 or 4 because it's going to be hard to turn. It's hard to turn down, I suppose, these opportunities when they come your way.
Absolutely. I mean, that was it. We could have delayed it if we wanted to the next tour, which is in April, and we thought if we do that, it's going to be scrambling in mid-March anyway. So why not just put the head down, do it, get out there and see what happens.
And look, as well, if you'd said no, you'd always wonder what might have been.
Absolutely.
And even not just the music and the gigs, but the a month of sun.
And the crack,
a month of sun and the crack as well.
Exactly.
As we sit here in miserable Ireland. Well, look, we wish you well on it. Looking forward to hearing the stories, the war stories when you get back. I know they say what happens on tour stays on tour, but we'll eke a few tall tales out of you when you get back. Hope it goes really well. The EP, remind people when it'll be out and how they can get a hold of it.
Actually, don't have a release date for the EP yet, but you can pre-order it on the website OGMA Band.
It's self-titled.
It's self-titled, OGMA. You can pre-order it on the website. We're hoping to release it towards the end of February, so 20th-ish, and ship out all the pre-orders immediately, and then it'll be done.
Good stuff.
All by the seat of our pants.
All by the seat of the tree. Sometimes that's the way the best things happen. Fair play to you, and that's looking forward to hearing how that turns out. We wish you well on your travels. Don't forget your toothbrush and toothpastes. DJ O'Sullivan from 13 Doors and OGMA with Geoff Tate and friends. Thanks as ever for popping in to have a chat.